don't know, something that's popping. Welcome everybody to Dungeon Brew. This is our first episode of the short rest where me and the guys are coming together and just chatting about whatever happened in the game or whatever you want to call it the night before. So we're coming together and hanging out to kind of reflect on what madness ensued. I am Josh, and we'll kind of go around the table and give a little brief introductions. I guess since I'm already talking, I might as well let you guys know that I am currently GMing the game that we are doing for the 9th Ascension. I've been playing tabletop role-playing games to some degree for about 25 years, from 2nd edition, 3.5, 5th edition. I didn't play 4th. And just a few odd and ends here and out of other tabletops. So that's me in a nutshell. I guess we just go around the table. Jason,
yeah,
tell them, about your family tree, your blood type.
So I'm AB positive. I like long walks on the beach. I've been doing tabletop games, honestly, probably not as long as anybody here. I've only been doing them for about 4 years, really. 2.5, Pathfinder, 3, and 5 is what I've played. I've played one in person. Everything else has been all virtual. So I'm a product of the dark times that was COVID. And yeah, that's kind of me. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, lovely.
My name is Todd, and gosh, I've loved playing just board games. I probably started way back when with Hero Quest, and then got into also playing Risk, and still love playing Hero Quest, although it's hard to find people around where I live to play. And I've just loved playing board games and got into doing D&D kind of around the start of COVID, and just been playing since as much as I can.
Do I have to pass it on every time? Is that what's happening right now?
Okay. Yes. Greg, on to you.
Start playing popcorn.
God, I feel like I'm a kindergarten teacher here.
This is new. My name's Greg. I've been playing D&D for about 20 some years now. Started playing in Josh's living room back in high school. I've played everything from 2nd edition to 3.5 and 5th edition. Yeah, I don't know what else.
Well, and we've also played some Stars Without Numbers, in one of our other groups too. So
yeah,
I've gotten a little bit off script from the fantasy role-playing type stuff.
Yeah, I've played some sci-fi games, Stars Without Numbers, a little bit. Like to branch out into more systems.
Yep. Yeah, and I've touched on a few systems, but I haven't had a ton of experience outside of that. I think that I even played a couple of sessions of GURPS or something like that at some point. Like it's been a while, but so I'm John. You know me from the channel. I'm currently running a game that we are not streaming on Monday nights that I've been running off and on, or pretty much regularly for 4 years now. I'm not sure how long we've been running that game, but the Monday night game has been going for a long time. And I just kind of rotate through new game. I have been playing for 25 years. Started with BECME, technically BX, and then have played 2nd edition, CNC, 3.5, 5th edition, Stars Without Numbers. And then I've also just kind of had a fascination with other games, so I've looked at Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, as well as a number of other different systems that I just find interesting, that I have a tendency to steal things from and then incorporate into D&D mechanics and that type of thing as well.
Very nice. So that's a little bit about each one of us and kind of our experience. The overall, I think, idea behind us just coming together and talking during the short rest is to talk about the game that we're playing, or just to sit around and hang out for a little bit, let you guys learn a little bit about what our insights are, our gaming styles are, things that we're thinking is going to happen in the game, things that we're confused about that you might also be confused about, and I don't know, just bullshit overall. So I don't know where you want to start. Anybody, anywhere?
Yeah, well, I the thing that I want to point out for this game is that for one, the game that we're recording, we're not a streaming group. We did a little bit of streaming with some previous games a few years ago, but we don't do a whole lot of that, so it really is pretty close to what we normally do. But I will say that one of the things that is very different about this game versus almost, I think, any game that we've played before is all of the characters are pre-made. So it's a different style of play, I think, for everybody involved. Whether you've been playing for a few years or like several of us where it's been a few decades, we usually have a lot more agency and autonomy in creating the characters, and so this is kind of a unique way of putting together a game that we don't normally see, which I think is interesting. I'm eager to see kind of how this plays out in the long run. Whether or not we start to feel like we own those characters and we are those characters in the same way we do with our personal ones that we create, or if it will still kind of have some distance there, even 6 and 10 sessions in.
Yeah, I will say it's interesting that we've gone through this first session, and I'm really interested how well you guys feel about the characters. Because I am the guilty one that pre-made them for everybody because I knew we were streaming and trying to have a little bit of control about where the game was going, what was going to happen, so we could fit it within 12 sessions. So how are you guys feeling about it? I mean, is there some awkward things about the character that doesn't jive with you? Are you kind of finding a personality for them and feel like you're being able to have, I guess, some agency, if not all agency, in developing who they are?
I think, given this is my maybe second pre-made character, I definitely felt a detachment at first. Maybe you'll still a little do. It's just because you guys know I put I put a lot of thought into what I build usually, right? Even the questions I was asking you, Josh, prior to just trying to get a little more information, it's different, but I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't feel comfortable with it, because I do. I think it's just it's different, and I like. I think there's enough depth there. You can he has a solid foundation, and I think this is kind of the same with all the characters. There's a solid foundation there, and there's still enough room to grow that individual. I think we have their set of ideals and what they're going for, but the path from A to C doesn't always have to go through B, kind of a deal. So, I think it'll be good, and and I think I speak for all of us. We know, we're trying to fit it in that time frame, and you let everybody create your own character. It's gonna that isn't gonna happen. So, yeah, I think I'm good with it so far.
I've enjoyed playing the character myself. Playing as long as I have, I've come to a point where character concepts are. I go for the left field characters, and they don't always work out. Concepts on paper aren't always, the best practically. And I've found playing a pre-made character like this is a unique challenge for the game.
Yeah, sure.
Trying to step in the shoes of something someone else made and then make it my own.
And try not to destroy what they created.
Yeah, exactly. I know this whole game is based off of Josh's book series, right? His world. And these characters have set feelings and events that they do, and I really don't want to screw up his character.
Well, in some fairness, John shares part of that world with me, but yeah, I'll be honest. I kind of applaud you guys' courage in picking up pre-made characters, because for a long while I was going to conventions and Comic Cons where they would do games that were pre-made, and they'd always be like, "Oh yeah, you need to come and play," and I wouldn't do it because it was a pre-made character. I don't want to come play some sheet that you hand me for 2 hours. It just didn't seem interesting to me. So I'm very appreciative that you guys are willing to do that.
Well, I know that you're somebody kind of like, Greg and Jason were talking about, that you take a lot of time and effort when you create your characters, and you have a lot of thought that goes into them, because kind of in the same way that Greg likes to go left field mechanically, you tend to go left field personality and concept wise. So
Well, and when I think about my character, I think my character probably has the most liberty of having kind of a different, not necessarily a different story, but like I have probably the most liberty of kind of creating more of a characteristics for my character, just the way they interact, because he's not part of the city. He doesn't have all the ties. He's kind of, I'm just visiting from the Giants, bringing this as a ploy. And so I feel like I have a lot more liberty in inserting a little bit more of who this character is, while still staying within those parameters of, he's lawfully evil and trying to, or what he's trying to do. So, in some ways I think I have that freedom, but it's interesting. I thought how everyone else was kind of bringing the characters together and kind of really fleshing them out, and seeing still their individuality come out in that character, even though it's pre-made, and, seeing them bring the life to that character, even though it is, like I said, pre-made.
So you noticed that I turned the character into an asshole because I'm an asshole. That's excellent.
I don't know. You were being a pretty good father there in some of those scenes.
Yeah, that's.
I
that's
thought you
all
did
from
really well.
Personal experience,
I was going to say, we didn't even really market it this way for the 9th Ascension, but it is an evil campaign. Like, you guys are all playing evil characters, which is something that I think that we oftentimes have a mix in our party of who's evil and who's good. There's sometimes some balance in that. I don't know if we've ever done a full evil campaign with this group to this level.
Not with this group. Monday night, I can't get you guys not to be evil, which is the biggest issue. But no, for this group, we have a tendency to usually be kind of good directed, I think.
Yeah. The alignment system to me is funny anyway. It's, I don't know.
I really use it as like a starting point.
Yeah.
Like you have that core ideal between the different alignments, and then you branch out from there.
Yeah.
Because you can't just be labeled chaotic good or lawful evil.
Well,
there's more to people than that.
That's honestly, we're going to get into alignment wars here. That's honestly why I kind of prefer like the Beckme system of alignment, where it's lawful, neutral, chaotic, and there's no evil that exists. It's like, are you somebody who conforms with the way that society governs and you follow the laws and the customs and things like that? Or do you not, and you fall outside of that, or do you fall somewhere in the middle? And I think that that's a little bit easier to digest, and you don't have to worry about putting on the label of, the moral aspects of good and evil. It's more of the societal norms of where you fall in that law-chaos spectrum.
And I think, at least right now, it's probably more where we fall anyway, within this one, thus far, anyway, right? We'll see what next session brings. We may,
we haven't had a lot
slaughter
of
an entire cave. I don't know. Yeah.
I didn't hear that part, Greg.
I said we haven't had a lot of moral quandaries so far.
Oh no, that is
like
true.
We had the potential for like a bar fight, but other than that, we haven't had any like moral choices yet.
So I kind of want to talk about the tavern.
Yeah, let's do that. I had to say, before we dive into it, one of the things that I know that we are doing very naturally is just playing the game. We don't have pre-written scripts. We're not like having everybody have a part they have to play and things they have to say, which I've seen other channels do before. I have some things that I have built into the game that I have to deliver as information from NPCs, but all the players around here are just doing what they do and playing the character in the moment and improvising, and we're all responding to that. And I have to say, in regards to the pub, you all did a really nice job, like de-escalating that situation and getting out of what could have turned into a very what's what I'm looking for? Give me a really long, like 4-syllable word, John. tumultuous, really
Problematic.
bad time.
I think
Yeah,
tumultuous was fine,
problematic.
too.
That was 4
Tumultuous.
syllables. Yeah, really problematic time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. When you had those characters walk in the door, I was like, okay, so I'm playing this quote unquote lawful evil. Like, he'd have no quandaries, I would think, starting a fight. But on the other hand, it would be a lot funnier, and I think more in character, to just kind of be a high societal prick about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're all supposed to be high societal pricks, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, but
we're all prominent people.
Jason did it to perfection.
Yes, he did.
I thought, I was like, so what would I do? I'd order them around, and then I'd be a dick about it. And then I would be the first one to pay. Because I can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then everybody playing off that, I thought it went very well. I thought it was fun. It was, I thought it was interesting, kind of keeping everybody on their toes like that. It was a lot of fun.
I just can't wait for Joshua to try and cook the abomination that he tried to feed all of us.
We've been meeting in person. That's all you really got.
When I was going through and listening to it again, I realized that not only is it sea bass, but it's like fried sea bass.
Yeah.
With the gravy and all the rest.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
With a red wine or a stout, yeah.
It wasn't meant to be a good meal. I really liked it.
I'm glad that you don't think that it was supposed to be a good meal.
It's Bronze Age. They're just throwing together what they got. It's not really great.
It's very it's almost overly refined for Bronze Age. I feel like.
Look, I just had to send it back though because the gravy was thin. Like, come on.
You can't have a thin white gravy.
No.
It's a very memorable moment, and it allowed me to have that line that nobody will eat the bass except the giant.
Nobody touched the bass.
I think the most disappointing part about it is that when the food came back and I got extra gravy and fish, there was still only one little piece of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was the disappointing part.
Which we never figured out what kind of cheese was. This like Havarti, cheddar, like Gouda? What are we looking at here?
Oh man, I had it on the list, and I'd have to pull up the game to figure out what type it was because they were specified. But those, I can share this type of information. The 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤 and 𝐿𝐼, even though they have some farms, it's primarily like barley and rye and things like that. They don't have like a lot of pigs or cows or things like that. They have like chickens,
Mm-hmm.
They may have some goats, but not a lot of milk products come out of the city. And so making cheese is like pretty rare. They don't have a lot of options just to be churning cheese all the time. It's a lot of bread.
So that was just like a fancy garnish?
Yeah, it's like a fancy garnish they put on, exactly. They have the millers, that make flour and stuff, and they have a lot of stuff to like make beer and drinks and things like that, but they don't have a lot of access to making cheese.
So I'm sorry if I'm just overly obsessed by this. So if they're making gravy and they're using barley flour, but they don't have milk,
what with water?
Right. So it was just water and barley flour.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Do they have access to pepper at least?
No.
I don't know.
I would think peppercorns are probably a thing.
Peppercorn, salt.
Yeah.
All right, then that's fine. You can do it with water.
I didn't even think about the seasoning. It's just bland sea bass and water.
That's what I assumed it was going to the public, like townhouse.
Yeah. So I am curious, because we're talking about the pub and the food and all that stuff. With the some of the ninth council members that came in, you went out of your way to kind of describe them. Blue eye. A lot of folks tend to have blue eyes, that kind of thing. And I haven't read this book series that you've done. So, is that a common trait among the 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤s? Is that
all
significant for them?
Yeah, all 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤s have light eyes and a reddish hair. It can be any like shade of like a orangish red to a dark red to like a blondish red, but there's always some tinge of red within their hair, and then they all have light eyes from a blue to a green. The Vucari, who are their enemies, are all brown-eyed, dark-haired, living up north. And this has some to do with like the recognition between them. This becomes important in later books where the Stuhians are like intermingled with Anshadar, which is the humans' culture, and they dye their hair with like herbs and molds and all sorts of stuff so they can blend in there. But it also shows that connection with the Ispalini, who are also all light-eyed and red hair as well.
Okay.
And there's supposed to be this connection with Marhina and their worship of Marhina that creates this like energy in them that gives them that appearance.
Okay.
I'm sure there is something somewhere in like mythology that makes like being scared of the redheads in the world. But
yeah,
the Ispalini actually are based off of what's called the Ispalin, which are Bulgarian giants that were considered to be the second creatures that were made in the universe that had 6 fingers and 6 toes that would go out and kill dragons. And the Stuhia are based off of a Slavic myth of these dragon men that could interwield with the elements and like cast great storms and do all these things and protect the area in which they lived.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't need all of that. I can talk about that stuff for days. But yeah, it is significant. If you have somebody wandering through the streets of Leerheim and they have dark hair and dark eyes, they're not Stuhian.
Sure.
Also, if they're like over 7 foot tall, they're probably not Stuhian either.
Correct.
There is that. So you want to talk about the
Well, there were couple times I had to stop from laughing because I kept hearing you say skin bitches instead of skin switches or something. And so I kept sitting there going, I was like, wait a minute, what are we calling them? Oh, man.
Yeah, you got a little thick with the accent with the skin switchers a couple times.
That's hilarious. Skin switches.
So, I don't know if anybody would want to talk about the crossroad enemy that was kind of anticlimactic, I guess. There was, a couple crows and a guy, but
I think funny. It's like it was climactic. We arrived, 2 birds and a man, and then
and then they're dead. Yeah, I didn't actually do anything in that fight. Like I didn't notice the people, and then I spent my only turn running.
Yes.
And everyone was dead before
true.
I got to do anything.
That's funny. I didn't even realize that. That's amazing.
Which I kind of find that funny for Mihail as a character. Since he's a general, he's used to leading men. So him just following behind the other people and watching them kill everyone kind of seems like something he would do.
Yeah. But
it just happened that I didn't actually get a chance to kill anyone.
Well done, men. You've managed to slay the enemy.
I would turn back to the Surdo and tell him of our great success.
No, I'm so one of the other things, I guess, in relation to this that we haven't talked about a whole lot is the magic itself is dangerous to actually wield. Which I'm sure that anybody who's watched has realized that we haven't done a lot of magic yet, but the magic is just kind of we come up with something and we say it and then we do it and we determine what the cost is for it, which is very liberating to play as a magic user. But there's also that danger because the more that you cast, the more that it drains the life source of the character, and canonically it ages them, and so we're doing something a little bit different where every time we level, then we have adjustments to our physical stats. Is that right, Joshua?
Yeah, your physical and your mental stats.
Right. So yeah, that's definitely something that is kind of in the back of my mind every time that I'm like, I want to cast a spell because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But then I'm like,
right?
If I do, what's going to happen to me by the time that I get to the end of this? And it's rough.
As the healer, I'm perpetually worried about that from here on out. Like,
Yeah,
You're only missing half your health. You'll be fine for one more fight, maybe.
you're fine. Yeah, you got to wait for him to hit 0. Like you have to wait for him to go down almost.
Kinda, yeah.
Before it feels like it's urgent. I won't blame
Well,
And one of the pieces too, which I wonder if we'll have some have to do some time jumps in the course of the game, depending on what's going on. But it's not like 5e where you just sleep and you're full HP the next day. It's like an HP. I gotta go back and look at the rules, but like an HP a day. or
HP a
something like
day, and then after I think it said a week, it goes to 2.
that.
Yeah.
that's
so,
rough.
So if you're not healing, then you are waiting to go and do tasks, which are going to delay your time. And you guys really only have about a week until
10 days.
Or 10 days, until Todd's character gets sent back to Tundra. So you have to get everything done in that time.
Yeah, well, it sounds like...
Good thing we got a healer.
Man is going to be an old man.
Yeah. I'm getting flashbacks from a previous campaign and a ghost.
Like, we're supposed to be going after dragons continuously over the next week and a half, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
That's going to need a lot of healing.
And I think that's a
just don't
great
get
point. Because I mean,
Yeah. Jeez.
I
I'll do
took
my
quite a
best.
bit of damage from those crows. The monkey didn't really do anything to me, but man, that one crow
Those crows.
did like a sixth of my health.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait
Jesus.
2 days just to heal that back up.
I realize that, and the other thing is for when I level up, I get more back hair, and so that's just problematic for my character. It's a crazy mess back there already, but
Just have crows stuck in it constantly.
Start nesting.
they'll be my attack crows. I can just like go caw, and they'll just fly off and attack.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting series of events. It's funny because you guys talk about how like the first battle was kind of anticlimactic, but in all honesty, I set it up that way because little battles like that added up really start to weigh on you when you have to heal them in order to keep them alive. And now you're going to be an 85-year-old man trying to get across the battlefield to go heal the next guy, knowing that the next time you level, it could just kill you. And so it's even though it's small, it's meant to be small and impactful because over time you guys understand the weight of what even those small incursions do to you.
Yeah, death by 1,000 cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even the spellcasters, like if they want to try and avoid taking damage, they can stay in the back and we can cast our spells, but then that has long-term repercussions when it comes time to level, and we're losing our strength, dex, and all that. When we already start out at an 8 con or whatever it was.
Yeah, and you add on to that, it's like even, I use like 1 mana during that fight. We have a couple more, I use a couple more, and it's like by the time we get to the, whatever the boss battle is or the dragon fight, I don't have enough mana left to actually engage in the fight because I've already used most of what I have in reserve too. So it's not only the long term, but also the short term for the mana. And I'll be in there close with a spear trying to kill a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited to kind of play with the mana system. There's ramifications to playing with it, but I do like the mana system and how that's been kind of built. I think that's interesting. I like that. It's a different play on spell slots, right? It gives you a little more freedom, I think. And as somebody who has never played a cleric ever in my life, I like that freedom a little bit. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Go
ahead, Todd.
It's funny listening to all of you, like oh man, magic is going to be rough and everything, and I'm sitting like, gosh, I'm the only fighter. I have to like run up and be the only one up there to try to, and then it's like our healer won't heal me because he's going to get old and saggy.
I mean, I could. I have more AC, but apparently I'm the only one that picked up a ranged weapon.
Yeah, it's funny that you're the only shield, Todd, to like the other 3 magic users, because John had made the comment about how he's like, so we don't like we're long lived and everyone else is short lived, and it's true, but even as the short-lived character, you might live longer than your 3 magic users.
True. That's
Well,
very
now
true.
I think John's character though can like suck the life out of things, right, and still kind of rejuvenate himself.
He can. I thought we'd actually talk about that a little bit because we didn't really describe what the magic system was in the
let's do
game.
it.
So all our 3 magic users, which are going to be Greg, John, and Jason, they all have a particular entropic magic that they can access, but all 3 of them are actually able to access elemental magics as well. So Jason, even as a healer that's based off of a cleric template, can access anything that is sea, sky, stone, or fire in relation to spell casting. But he's the only one that can access sacred, like divine healing, bolstering, buffing type of spells, and like that class. John then, of course, can access necromancy ones, and Greg can access illusion, enchantment type of spells. But it makes it very unique that all of them can access all of these spells in the elemental piece, but then they can only access certain spells within their school.
Yeah, I think I like the way that's kind of set up. I think it's neat. And then we were talking about other variations of magic also in the world that none of us could have access to.
The primal
Druidic
magic.
The primal magic, that's what it was called, yeah.
Yeah. You guys have some Stygians that are there that can access primal magic, which is very druidic in nature. Just your things like entanglement and bark skin and stuff like that. They can't transform into animals. That's something that only the Vucari can do, but that does make it a little bit challenging for you guys. And I'll be honest, I intentionally made none of you primal characters because I was not going to deal with Todd, who cast entanglement all last game. In our Conan game to hold up all the enemies I was putting on the battlefield. The same reason we got rid of displacement cloaks.
Yeah,
you made me an illusionist. You're going to get a lot of
like a pattern here.
Look.
Todd is why we can't have nice things.
Well, hold on a second. I got that displacement. I got the displacement cloak, not of my own doing. I believe a certain DM just said, "Hey, you got a displacement coaster. You can buy one." So that wasn't on me. And the druid spells we had for that other campaign were kind of limited.
They were. That and your pets kept dying.
I know. Okay. Oh wait, that's another thing. The guy that we killed was that my token from last?
Yeah,
campaign?
I was going to say
like him.
We're attacking Seamus.
And then he turns into Pooh Fighter. What the heck was that?
I didn't even realize that. That is hilarious.
I definitely did.
Yeah.
Symbolic,
I noticed the monkey, but I didn't.
Symbolic death and loss of entanglement spells.
I had to kill my own character and my animal companion.
Okay, so with the death of Todd's character, that's probably also a good place for us to stop this evening. We will end there, but we will be coming back again for our second episode of the Ninth Ascension. It'll be coming out next week, and of course, we'll do another follow-up after that, and maybe dive a little bit more into what these guys expect is going to happen and how they see the plot unfolding based on what they know so far. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell so you know when the next video comes out. We'll see you guys again next time.